Hi guys, Luna here, and welcome back to Friendsim 2. We've been going through the salvation routes, and we just stumbled across something rather interesting. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Because this is something that is very big and only discovered in one other thing before. In one motion, Demaria pulls the heavy sheet down, and you recognize something that, by all rights, you have no way of recognizing. Which, is there actually no... Okay, there is actually a little bit of subtle music. In one motion, Demaria pulls the heavy sheet down. By all means, you have no way of recognizing. And yet, here it is. Treasure steps back with a gasp, but Demaria walks forward and places a hand on the side of the portal.
This is what he uses to send me to different places, different times beyond what he can easily reach. He says it's only until my powers fully develop. But I always wondered, maybe it could reach other places. Places that are farther away.
She sighs and looks over at Teresa, then back at you, and you can see the sadness in her face that goes beyond her years.
He doesn't want to let you go. Not really. I don't know why right now, but you're both important. Or maybe it's just keeping you here that's important. I'm sorry, I wish I knew more.
Fuck, this is bullshit! He can't just keep us here forever. I'm going to find him and...
And what, my dearest Triza? What plans are you up here making?
Oh crap, you turn to run, and as if it will matter, and your legs will actually even obey your brain this time.
You have no reason to worry. I have no desire to harm you right now. In fact, I am quite pleased that you found this place. Damara, I would like to thank you for leading our guests up here.
Yes, Mr. Scratch. I'm so sorry I didn't say anything before.
No, not to worry. I've been giving this matter some thought, and honestly, I think I've been far too harsh. If you'll excuse me, I believe this is a conversation I wish to have in private. There, now it's just you and me again.
Yeah, that hasn't worked out great for you historically.
No, not to worry, my dear reader. I'm no longer interested in removing you from the timeline in such a violent manner. Once again, I wish to apologize for attempting such drastic measures. I believed that they would be the best course of action at the time, but now I admit that I was in error.
Oh well, as long as he's in error, I guess it's fine.
The sarcasm doesn't become you, dear reader. In any case, I'm sure that by now you've surmised that this artifact before us has certain reality-altering properties, including the ability to move between timelines.
Oh yeah, Demaria mentioned traveling through time before.
You misunderstand. Not through time, although it does have that ability, but to another timeline itself. Another set of universal variables that produce a wholly different reality. For example, one in which your meddling has locked the timeline off from further interference, and all your friends are safe.
So what now? You already tried his stupid game and it was basically impossible.
I'm prepared to allow you to try again, actually, but with a different set of parameters.
Like what?
I understand you've been talking to my handmaid lately, and perhaps you understand how important she is to my plans.
Something like that, yeah?
However, she is not necessarily essential to those plans, because you've delivered another one to me who could serve in a very similar role.
Trizia? You think that Trizia could do what he's got Demaria doing right now? Scratch not.
Precisely. So now I have reached something of an interesting quandary. I have 2 potential handmaids, and yet I only need 1. In fact, it's quite irritating to face the prospect of dealing with them both. So, I decided that I'm prepared to allow you to not only return home with your various friends, but to select one of those 2 to go with you.
I'm definitely gonna save to try and see the different results.
The other will, of course. stay here with me to ensure the continuity of my own timeline.
You don't love this. It feels like a devil's bargain, and you're looking down at your own reflection in the devil's shiny face.
So, my dear reader, which will you choose?
I'm gonna just save over this because it doesn't really matter. You choose Chiza. Choose Chiza. Select Chiza. Very Chiza. You got two options. Either you save your friends or you give them away to fight back. Salvation.
Excellent. You see, you're capable of making these hard decisions after all. Now, of course, you'll still have to prove to me that you fully understand your place in the narrative, in the timeline of events.
Of course. That means you'll be playing the game again?
Not exactly the same game, but yes, essentially. I'll give you some time to prepare yourself and discuss the situation with the others. Let me know when you're ready to prove your worth.
Oh crap. Stand there for a few minutes, or suppose it feels like a few minutes longer, staring at the portal in front of you, the doorway that can lead you back home. Got no idea how you're going to actually accomplish any of this, given the fact that Scratch is so likely to be rigging the hell out of this game, but when an increasingly impossible odds ever stopped you before. Slowly you find your way back down to the stairs in the parlor, where you see Demir sitting quietly on the couch and Trisha pacing back and forth nervously in the room.
What did Mr. Scratch say to you?
It's complicated. You might actually need a few minutes to think this one out, actually. Demir nods and shrugs as if to say, we got all the time in the world.
I need to speak with you. Alone.
Trisha pulls you around the corner far enough away from the parlor that you're pretty sure that Demir can't overhear. She leans in, an expression on her face that you're having a hard time figuring out.
You've seen it too, haven't you? The bleed through.
This is kind of freaking you out. Actually, does she want maybe to get outside and get to Mare? Maybe she's just feeling cooped up. Trisha shakes her head quickly, but she walks toward the door and leaves the mansion without saying another word. Is she doing okay? You know things are weird and bad right now, but you're in the process of making a plan to get her out of here.
I think I understand why you were so shocked when you saw me. Beyond me being the heiress. You saw it, didn't you?
Saw what? Trisha glares at you and turns away, staring up at the dull gray sphere of Eternia in the distance. You can't help but wonder what version of Eternia you're actually seeing, or as if some super state of all versions of Eternia at once.
Don't act stupid. Versions of people that don't exist. Someone else's memories.
That old familiar chill runs up and down your back, and up for a second you see it. That smiling face backlit by the burning city, the eyes that don't feel anything anymore, the woman who diverged so many sweeps in the past. But you never actually seen any of this, have you?
It doesn't matter. Some version of you has, in some way.
Trisha paces back to the edge of the strangely cultivated lawn that surrounds the mansion, head down.
How do I know that version of me isn't the real one? The one that's most true?
You're not sure what to say to her? This is also something that you're struggling with, understanding the timelines and alternative versions of reality. But also, maybe it doesn't matter? Trisha looks at you suspiciously. Oh crap, you gotta explain yourself now. No. Okay, so the thing of it is, what does it even matter? This is her reality right now, right? Trisha nods silently. There's something weird about this place in particular. It's like someone drew in a piece of paper before and inked blood through onto the next page. It's not a distinct or clear picture, but you see some echo of what's happened before.
That seems like an accurate way of putting it.
But what does it matter? Who cares what came before who came before even if it doesn't matter anymore? For all you know, that timeline never even got to end. Maybe it got cut off prematurely, forever doomed to never get its final word in.
It's easy for you to say. I'm assuming you've never had visions of yourself committing mass murder.
Well, no, but also doesn't matter. She hasn't committed mass murder at all. She has, in fact, worked very hard to change things for the better. Trisha barks out a short, harsh burst of laughter.
For the better? What a fucking joke! That rust blood in there? You think she deserves to live like this? You think she wants to serve that monster?
No, you definitely don't think that she does. But you don't think anyone deserves to live that way that Eternia makes him. Choose not.
You're right. Which is why I can't leave them behind, no matter what you're planning.
No, she's not the first person you met who doesn't want to leave Eternia, but you get the sinking feeling that she isn't going to change your mind.
I'm not. These people, I care about them. I was trying to do something for them. Trying to work with.
She doesn't finish her sentence, but you know exactly what she's talking about. With Critia, right? Triza nods, tears welling up in her eyes.
I won't abandon them. And I'm not going to abandon Tamara. Come on!
Triza turns around and walks back inside, and you're left alone outside of the mansion, and once again staring up on Eternia. For a second you wish you knew how this all started, and you feel like that part of your memory will never really come back to you. And really, what does it matter? You're here now, and it's where you are. Or something like that. You're about to head back to the parlor and let Triza and Demir know exactly what the deal is as far as getting the heck out of here. But you stop when you hear their voices from the other room.
You deserve a life outside of being his apprentice.
I'm sorry. This isn't something I can talk about right now.
Fuck that. That weird alien. They made a place where you can be safe. That portal in the upper room. That's got something to do with it.
Demir doesn't spawn right away. You can almost hear her thinking.
It does, doesn't it? It could be a way out for you, right?
I can't. That's not something I can do. He'll never let me.
You draw in a deep breath and make the decision to step around the corner. Actually, he will. Chuzir and Demir turn to look at you like you just said something especially outlandish, which, that's fair, you kinda did.
His offer, right? One of us goes, one of us stays.
How does she know about that? You know what? You're not even gonna worry about it right now. But yeah, you might have been offered a deal by Scratch. If you can play his game and win, he'll let you leave with everyone who agreed to come with you, and Demiria too. But there's a catch. He wants Triza to stay behind and
I'll stay behind.
Become his new apprentice. There's no way you can possibly ask her to. What?
No! You can't do that! You can't stay here, especially not with him! You don't know what he's like, how awful he is, how much he hurts people!
Chizir turns to Demir, and there's a look of intense sadness in her
I
eyes.
feel like I actually do know. I told you before, I care about the people down there on Alternia. Not just that, all of my people. Maybe the Imperator is gone, but she's still out there. She's coming back, and in a couple perigees, she's going to be the Empress in orbit again. It'll be just like it was before Ascension.
You get the sense that she means that this in the sense of ascension as a concept. You think back on what you learned about Stelsa's ancestor Stenia. Yeah, the idea of returning to that status quo seems maybe not so great.
So if my staying here gives me some measure of control over things, then fine. I'd rather live here where I can at least have some chance to fight back. And if it lets her be safe, then all the better.
I can't let you do this.
Trizia draws herself up suddenly, and you can see a glimpse of Trizia that becomes Empress. The Trizia who commands absolute loyalty from those who follow her, who designed the Alternia drone program by herself. Another Trizia that never existed.
You don't have a choice. Get your shit together because you're leaving with our friend here.
Demira looks down at her knees and frowns.
Can I at least take her with me? My friend?
Who?
You quickly motion for Trizia to stop talking. Every part of you knows that Scratch finding out about Bodir would be a very, very bad thing, especially since this has all given you an idea. They need to come with you, both of them. Once more, the dark under the house wraps itself around you. You crawl forward on hands and knees. Up ahead, you know Damir is there, with Trizia falling close behind you both. But right now, for this slice of a few minutes, you're basically alone in the darkness. What are you even doing here? Why did you come back here? What made you think that you could ever make a difference in any of their lives? The dim light of the crawl space slowly creeps up on you until the clutter of the room resolves itself.
You're back!
She frowns and looks back and forth between you, Demiria, and Trizia. The recognition on her face is unmistakable.
He said something, didn't he? He made you an offer.
Yeah, something like that. He's willing to let Demiria go, but needs someone to stay behind and trade. Bodia looks at Trizia, who turns away and frowns.
That sounds like a bad deal.
It's fine. Maybe it's better this way. To keep watch over the people of Alternia. You know that the Condess is coming back in just a couple periges.
I'm sure she already told you this, but this place exists outside of time. Time here doesn't mean the same thing as what's happening at any given point somewhere else.
It doesn't matter. It's my best chance to... Never mind.
Baldia looks closely at Trizia, and for a second it's like she can see right through her. Finally, Baldia nods softly.
I can see your mind is made up.
What the hell? Why are you just going along with this?
You never did learn to read other people the way you can see in and out of the currents of time, did you?
What does that mean?
It means you need to trust me.
Demir looks like she's about to respond, but she thinks better of it. Baldia turns back to you and nods thoughtfully.
Okay, if you're serious about doing this, you'll need to beat his game.
How does she know about that? Baldia shrugs and winks at you.
I know lots of things. Call it the gift of sight.
I know about his games. He might not lie, but he's happy to cheat as much as he can.
Which is why you cheat right back. Why let him set the terms for everything?
You don't really see where you can get much choice in the matter, actually. In spite of your best efforts, you know basically nothing about what you're facing here.
There's ways I can help you. But first, you have to answer a question.
Okay, you don't like the way she said that.
Do you remember the shadows in the White Room?
I do. You feel like your entire body frees up. If you had your hair follicles, then you would be covered in goosebumps right now. How? Why does that sound so familiar?
I think you should relax and try to remember.
So you're back again. Here at the end of all things. Here at the very beginning. Wait a minute, you remember this. You remember her voice from the start of the game. She told you about tragedy and said, maybe this isn't a tragedy. You're having a really hard time trying to believe that. People got hurt, you hurt people. You couldn't even begin to save everyone. Why does that matter to you? Because they're hurt. Everyone in this pain all the time, so hurt by the world they have to live in. They deserve to be free, for the system to be fixed if they're happy. Can't fix what's broken. And Eternia isn't broken. It serves the very purpose it was made for. But that purpose sucks. I agree. And yet, it's not our responsibility to finish the work, but neither are we exempt from it. So what do? Keep them safe. You know you can keep them all safe. You're going to get your powers back and protect all of them. What if I told you that powers were never coming back? What would change how you feel? No. You still spend every second because you're alive trying to help them. Because that's who you are. Because you spent too long seeking something that's always felt like something that's just out of reach. Every day you're alive, the very act of living is a chance to unmake your world and be built back up again. And maybe sometimes the world deserves to be unmade.
What happened to them?
Don't worry. They'll be coming around soon enough.
Okay, but what happened?
Spooky.
I think they remembered something.
Spooky. Oh yeah, you could say that. You remembered everything. The way that the time looped around itself. The council and the vague advice. The sense that this was all supposed to help you accomplish something. But what the heck does it matter? They're gone now. Don't have any more influence over the world. So how can any of this possibly help you?
Because I found this.
Baldy rummages around in one of the piles of junk that's scattered around the room. Finally, she emerges with a wrinkled sheaf of papers. There's something about that feels wrong. Wait, what is this? Baldy leans in close and passes the papers over.
Do not show this to anyone else, including those two.
You don't understand why. Holy shit, this can't be real. There's no way this is real. Oh. So, Friendsim 2, Volume 14, The Shadow of All Things. In Crossbait, Baldy leans in close and passes the papers over. Do not show this to anyone else, including those two. You don't understand why. Holy shit, this can't be real. There's no way this can't be real. And just like what it says currently at the bottom, you skim down the page, looking at the words printed neatly in 12-point Courier new font. Can't believe what you're seeing, but ... And then Baldur says, it's all there, right? Everything? Trizia then says suspiciously, what the hell are you two doing over there? Trizia starts to walk towards you, but you put up your hand. Mazapar, wait, she can't come over. Just please, she needs to trust you. Reluctantly, Trizia stops and shakes her head. Trizia says, fine, let's just make it quick, we gotta figure this plan out. Mazapar says this possibly can't be real, there's nothing that can't exist. Bodier, and yet you've something is blocked by text, understand this place in the world as well as that. You put down the papers and stare at Bodier. Page 37.
It's all there, right? Everything.
What the hell are you two doing over there?
Trisha starts to walk towards you, but you put your hand up. Wait, she can't come over. Just please, she needs to trust you. Reluctantly, Trisha stops and shakes her head.
Fine, just make it quick. Gotta figure this plan out.
This possibly can't be real. There's no way anything like this exists.
And yet, you're holding it in your hands. Maybe you don't understand your place in this world as well as you thought.
Put the papers down and stare at Bodier. How does this help you?
Scratch was never playing fair. His questions had answers you couldn't possibly know, or answers that weren't answers at all. But with this, things are different.
Oh shit, is she saying you can literally change the script? Bodier shakes her head, looking dejected.
No, I tried that already. It always just changes back. But I think there's another way.
You're all ears at this point. Like, if a person could be comprised entirely of a functional ears, you'd be that person.
Why are you so weird?
Because I just am.
I think that there's a chance I can adjust some things in the game room to make the game fair, at least.
Okay, but he's probably still gonna be hit with, like, weird questions he couldn't possibly know the answer to. Like, what's the name of the grub Bronya had in her pocket or something?
Of course. But I think that's where one final piece comes into play. I just need you to talk to Scratch for a little while. That's all.
And she can't tell you why you're going to be talking to Scratch, a thing you should point out that you very much do not want to do.
No. You need to trust me. Talk to Scratch, then come to Damara's bedroom.
She turns to Trizia and Damara and frowns.
You two. You need to get into place while I find Scratch.
For that, you hope that is the final time you're in the dark place under the mansion. You don't want to have to put all of your faith into Boulder like this. Not because you don't trust her, but because you just hate not knowing things. It'd be so much easier if you just knew what the specific plan was. You pull yourself up from under the house and dust yourself off, looking once more up at the strange sight of Eternia in the sky. As you look at it, you notice that there's something off about the lack of movement in the clouds and that kind of haze covering around the planet. Huh, what's that about?
What that's about is simple. As you may have already surmised from your discussion with my handmaid, this moon exists out of time. Any attempts to reach it from any given iteration of Alternia would have disastrous results.
That sounds pretty bad, actually.
Yes, you are quite correct that this would typically be seen as pretty bad. Although, it turns out to be a remarkably good way to cultivate the mythos surrounding my home. Now, why don't we take this conversation to a more pleasant environment? Now, my dear reader, have you had a chance to prepare yourself to attempt my test once more?
Almost, but you really want to ask him some questions first. I feel like it's really important to do that.
Oh, why is that? Specifically?
You don't really actually know.
Well, I suppose there's no harm in indulging you for a short while. You fascinate me, you know. This strange black hole in the scope of my perception. Wherever you go, it feels like there's this air of non-deterministic potential. Honestly, it sickens me.
Okay, cool. Well, you're not a big fan of his attitude either.
Don't misunderstand me. I have no qualms with you as a person. It's more the chaos that you represent. In any event, don't let your thoughts dwell on it. Ask me your questions, and I will provide you with the answers you seek.
I doubt that, but sure. Why is he doing any of this? You just want to know what's the actual point behind any of what he's doing is. It seems so pointlessly cruel.
Of course you would see it that way. The curse of having a limited point of view. If you saw things the way that I do, perhaps you would have a different opinion.
You're not actually sure about that. You've had the opportunity to see a few different points of view, and all keeps coming back to is that he's hurting people.
People who scarcely matter in the cosmic scope. What was it your friend said? Our entire world exists against a cosmic void that is scarcely aware of us. So, my dear reader, what is the point of focusing on any given individual beyond their place in the larger plan?
You feel a prickling sensation along with your spine. Who said that? When did she say that? Wait, she? What else has she said? We can choose our light, the lives of those around us, instead of letting them suffer in darkness. For that moment at least we can give hope to others, and for that moment we have changed the universe.
How incredibly trite. It's your sentimentality that put you in this position to begin with. You would be wise to disabuse yourself of that particular burden.
So what happens to Eternia?
A painfully vague question. Do you mean that in the cosmic sense, or the specific case where you've been meddling?
Both?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, Alternia exists purely to facilitate the creation of the next universe, to fulfill the cycle that he belongs to.
Yeah, you know that one.
As to the specific slice of Alternia to which your friends belong, I would imagine that they'll eventually be killed. The Empire's vast, and it has little tolerance for deviation.
But your friends?
We'll all be dead. I fail to see how this is difficult to grasp. Really, the concept is exceedingly simple.
What happens to your Earth?
Oh? The Earth you've locked away to create a space for that handful of friends you had?
Yeah, you've been trying to make things better there using your powers. Of course, you're not sure you'll be able to do that anymore. But you want to make sure that everyone's safe. That was what you wanted, to make sure everyone gets to be safe and happy.
I have no knowledge of your Earth, nor any claim to it whatsoever. Your previous actions splintered that particular branch off from the tree, as it were. So rest assured that your little project of a world will remain forever out of my sight.
Well, good. You didn't want him coming there.
Why would I want to do that? From my perspective, it is little more than yet another doomed timeline I can ignore.
It's about Triza. Was she part of his plans, having her locked away in the tower and waiting for the day when she would fight the Empress?
Of course. Perhaps not to the same degree that the handmaid was part of my plans, but the heiress always had a crucial role to play. Either she would rise up and become the next empress, or fall and affirm the reign of her imperious condescension, or whatever she calls herself.
Well, joke's on him. Now that Triza isn't going to fight the Empress at all.
Oh? Is that what you think? You don't see the fire that burns behind her eyes? The spark of hatred that exists within her? Do you think that other version of Trizatethis simply appeared out of nothing?
You don't like this. You don't like what he's saying to you. Scratch laughs.
Given the right set of initial conditions, she would be the very same person she's so deeply afraid of. Perhaps, under my guidance, she can realize some of that potential. It would be such a shame to waste it.
About Darmia.
What about her?
Why is she threatening her like this?
What do you mean? She is my apprentice. It is important that she be properly prepared for her future role.
He's torturing her. You know about how he makes her keep watching her friends die and die again.
That is not my fault. If she would simply comply with my wishes, then her life would be so much easier. It is critical that she be ready, and that kind of wanton disregard for our work could have disastrous consequences.
Disastrous for who? Notice that Scratch doesn't respond to any of this right away.
That is unimportant. Regardless of what your opinions on the matter are, she has a role to play, and she needs to learn to play it. And now, that role will be taken over by another, all in good time.
This timeline stuff hurts your head. You're having such a hard time following it all, the way that you keep getting these vague memories from all the things that haven't happened.
Not many individuals have been gifted with your unique properties. There are some side effects. Your sense of increased awareness is one of them.
But you don't even have your powers anymore. Shouldn't that make you everything more normal?
My dear reader, some doors cannot be closed once they've been thrown open. You should keep that in mind. Now, I believe that we've spent more than enough time chatting. You have preparations to make.
For a second, your heart jumps into your throat and you freeze up, but Scratch laughs.
After all, you'll be playing for higher stakes this time, and I wouldn't want you to fail so miserably again. When you're ready, I will be in the game room. I trust you can find your own way there.
You're standing in front of the felt mansion once more, blinking in confusion. You really hope that you gave Boulder enough time for whatever she was doing. Gather up your thoughts and begin to make your way back up to the mansion. Back up at Dormier's room, you cautiously open the door and step inside. Okay, you hope that Boulder had enough time to do what she needed to do.
I did. Thank you. The rest will be up to you and Trizza.
Wait, where's Dormiria? You see Trizza and Boulder exchange a wordy glance.
She's downstairs in the fucking game room. Guess Scratch wants to keep an eye on her.
Indeed he does. The good news is that his focus will be entirely on the game he set up for you. That leaves us to work in the shadows, as it were.
And what exactly is the plan?
No, we can't tell you. Get your ass downstairs and trust us.
Outside the game, you may stop, and you're not sure if he can go through with this. If you fail again, it'll be bad. But then again, what choice do you have? This is basically the only chance you have to save Dormiria. The fact that Trizza is basically sacrificing herself for this makes you sick to your stomach. It doesn't seem like you have many options right now, and you take a breath and step into the game room. On your way in, you nearly trip right over the stupid crowbar that Scratch tried to use to kill you before. You just left it lying there up against the doorframe like a jerk.
Ah, my dear reader, you're just in time.
You look over at Demiria, who lowers her head quietly.
Don't mind her. I simply want to keep an eye on her while we conclude our business together. When this is complete, she will be as free as she's ever been.
You hate the way that he says it, the way he twists the words around it to mean exactly what he wants to mean without ever technically lying. But you don't have time for this right now. You're ready to play this stupid game. And with that, I think this is a good place to actually save this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a good day, night, week, month of your lives, and may the stars forever guide your path wherever they might lead you into the future. Bye-bye, and hope to see you guys again next time.